Steph Curry, we've never seen a guy. Small guys don't normally lead teams to championship. It's been very few. What makes Steph so unique? Obviously, we know he can shoot the ball, but it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely more than that. First of all, movement without the ball. We've never seen probably a basketball player in better condition, understand angles, be on balance to still shoot.
Right.
And he can shoot off balance too.
Right.
We've never seen that before.
Right.
Magic Johnson knew. He knew Stephen Curry was different before the rest of basketball was ready to listen. While scouts looked at Curry and saw a small, skinny shooter who might not survive the NBA, Magic looked at him and saw something else. He saw a player who was about to change the game forever. Most people thought Curry was too thin. They thought he was too slow. They thought his game would not work against bigger, stronger players. But Magic had heard doubts like that before. He had heard them about himself. I am Henry, and this is Buzzer. Before we go deeper into the story of how Curry proved everyone wrong, give this video some hype, because this is the story of basketball almost missing the future right in front of its eyes. Back in 2009, Stephen Curry was getting ready for the NBA draft. He had just finished an amazing college career at Davidson. He scored a lot of points. He hit deep shots that nobody else could hit. He led his small school all the way to the Elite Eight in March Madness. People loved watching him play. But when it came time for the NBA draft, many experts were not sure about him at all. Scouts look at his body. He was thin. He did not look like a typical point guard. He did not jump super high. He was not the fastest player on the floor. Some scouts called him a tweener. That means he was too small to be a shooting guard and not quick enough, in their eyes, to be a point guard. They worried he would get pushed around by bigger guards in the NBA. They worried his shot would not be enough to make up for it. One draft analyst named Doug Gottlieb said that 5 other point guards in that draft class had more long-term potential than Curry. He named Ricky Rubio, Johnny Flynn, Brandon Jennings, Jeff Teague, and Patty Mills. Those were good players. Some of them had nice careers, but none of them became what Curry became. None of them earned a single All-NBA selection in their entire careers. Curry went on to win multiple MVP awards and helped start a shooting revolution that changed basketball everywhere. The Minnesota Timberwolves had 2 picks in a row that year, picks 5 and 6. They used both of them on point guards. They picked Ricky Rubio at number 5, then they picked Johnny Flynn at number 6. 2 point guards taken back-to-back right before Curry's name was even called. The Golden State Warriors picked Curry 7th. Looking back now, this moment feels almost unbelievable. 2 teams had a chance to grab Curry early, and neither one did. It is one of the clearest examples in sports history of everyone seeing the same player, and almost everyone getting it wrong. Curry himself never forgot how that draft felt. He has talked about reading some of those old scouting reports years later, after he had already become a star. Reading words that doubted him so strongly after everything he had already done must have felt strange. It is one thing to be doubted before you prove yourself. It is another thing to look back at those doubts after you have already changed the entire sport. Almost everyone, but not Magic Johnson. Magic understood something that a lot of scouts did not. He understood it because he had lived it. Back in 1979, when Magic came into the NBA, he did not look like a normal point guard either. Most point guards back then were small and quick. Magic was 6 feet 9 inches tall. That is huge for a point guard. People were not sure what to do with a player his size who wanted to handle the ball and run the offense. But Magic did not let his size stop him. Instead, he used it. He could see over defenders. He could grab rebounds and start the fast break himself. He could pass to teammates in ways that smaller guards never could. Magic took the rules of the point guard position and bent them completely. He proved that a point guard did not have to be small. He proved that the position could be anything a great player wanted it to be. Because Magic had already broken the mold once, he knew what it looked like when someone else was about to do the same thing. When he watched Curry play, he was not looking at a small shooting guard stuck in the wrong body. He was looking at a player who was about to bend the position again, just from a totally different direction. Magic changed the point guard position with his size. Curry was about to change it with his shooting. They did not look alike at all. One was a giant, the other was one of the smaller players on the floor. But what they were doing was the same kind of thing. They were both showing the basketball world that greatness does not always look the way people expect it to look. Let's talk about what made Curry so special, because it was not just about scoring points. A lot of people thought a great point guard had to get a ton of assists. That is how Magic did it. He was always near the top of the league in assists every single year. His passing was a huge part of why the Lakers were so good. Curry's game worked in a different way. His biggest weapon was not always the pass. It was fear. The moment Curry crossed half court, defenders had to pay attention to him. If they looked away for even 1 second, he could pull up and make a shot from way beyond the three-point line. So defenders could never relax. They had to guard him everywhere, all the time, even when he did not have the ball. Think about it like this. Imagine you are playing tag, but one kid in the game is so fast that you have to watch him every single second, even when he is far away from you. You cannot focus on anyone else, because if you do, that kid might dash past you and score before you even notice. That is what it felt like to guard Curry. Curry made the court feel bigger. He made defenders take 1 extra step toward him every single time he moved. That 1 extra step might not seem like much, but on a basketball court, 1 step can be the difference between an open shot and a covered shot. When defenders took that extra step toward Curry, it left someone else open. Maybe it was a teammate cutting to the basket. Maybe it was a teammate standing alone in the corner with a clean look at the rim. Curry was creating those openings just by existing on the court, even when the ball was nowhere near him. This is a new kind of playmaking. It does not show up the same way in assist totals, but it shows up everywhere else. It shows up in how tired defenders get. It shows up in how often the other team has to change their whole game plan just because of one player. There is a famous example of how exhausting it was to guard Curry. During the 2015 NBA Finals, a player named Matthew Dellavedova spent a lot of energy chasing Curry around screens and trying to stay close to him. By the end of one of those games, Dellavedova was so worn out that he needed medical help and had to be given oxygen. Think about that. One player's movement, without even needing the ball in his hands most of the time, was enough to wear another player down to the point of needing help just to recover. That is the kind of impact Magic was talking about when he looked at Curry's game and saw something special. There is another big difference in how Magic and Curry started their careers, and it helps explain why their stories feel so different. When Magic joined the Los Angeles Lakers, the team already had a superstar named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem had already won several MVP awards before Magic even arrived. Magic stepped into a winning situation and helped make it even better. In fact, Magic won a Finals MVP award in his very first season, partly because Kareem got hurt and Magic had to step up. Curry's story started in a very different place. The Golden State Warriors had not been good for a long time before Curry arrived. The team had gone through more than 20 years without much success. Curry did not join a winning team. He helped build one from almost nothing. He helped create the culture, the style of play, and the winning habits that eventually attracted other great players to come join him. By the time Kevin Durant decided to join the Warriors, Curry had already built something special for him to join. Magic walked into greatness. Curry had to build it first. For a long time, people did not believe a team built around jump shooting could win it all. They thought jump shooting teams were fun to watch in the regular season, but they thought those teams would fall apart in the playoffs. They believed the playoffs were tougher and more physical, and that teams which relied on three-point shots would get exposed when the games got harder and slower. Curry and the Golden State Warriors proved that idea wrong. They did not just win one championship and get lucky. They built a team that won again and again, with three-point shooting as one of its biggest strengths. Curry did not just help his team win games. He changed how every team in the league thought about offense. After Curry's success, teams everywhere started shooting more threes. Young players started practicing deep shots the way kids used to practice dunks. Coaches who used to avoid three-point shots started building entire game plans around them. Curry did not just win championships. He changed what basketball looks like at every level, from the NBA all the way down to kids playing on a playground. This is one of the most exciting parts of the whole story. A player who was once doubted because he was too small and too reliant on jump shots ended up making jump shooting the most important part of modern basketball. The very thing people worried about became the very thing that made him great. Now let's talk about the big debate. Some people call it the GOAT point guard debate. GOAT means greatest of all time. For years, fans have argued about whether Magic Johnson or Stephen Curry is the best point guard in NBA history. This debate is not about disrespecting Magic. Magic has an incredible case. He won 5 NBA championships. He won 3 Finals MVP awards. He won 3 regular season MVP awards. He averaged more than 11 assists per game over his career, and even more than that in the playoffs. His assist-to-turnover ratio was excellent, which means he rarely made mistakes with the ball, even while making so many passes. In the NBA Finals, he averaged about 19 points, almost 8 rebounds, and almost 12 assists per game. Those numbers are amazing. Curry's case is different, but it is also amazing. He has won 4 NBA championships. He has won 2 regular season MVP awards, including one that was unanimous, meaning every single voter picked him, which had never happened before in NBA history. He has won 1 Finals MVP award. His career true shooting percentage, which measures how efficiently a player scores, is higher than Magic's. His career free throw percentage is the best in NBA history, better than any player who has ever played the game. In the finals, Curry averaged more than 27 points per game, which is a huge number for a point guard. The reason this debate is so hard to settle is that Magic and Curry were great in completely different ways. Magic controlled the game with the ball in his hands. He was the one making the decisions on almost every single play. Curry controlled the game even when the ball was somewhere else. His presence alone changed how the other team had to play. The fact that this debate even exists tells you something important. It tells you that Curry reached a level that almost nobody expected back in 2009. Back then, people were not arguing about whether Curry could be the greatest point guard ever. They were arguing about whether he belonged in the NBA at all. Now his name gets mentioned next to Magic Johnson, one of the most legendary players in basketball history. That alone shows how far Curry climbed. Over time, the relationship between Magic and Curry became more than just a debate. It became something warmer, something that showed real respect between 2 generations of point guards. There's an award called the Magic Johnson Award. It is given out by basketball writers to a player who is great on the court and also great with the media and fans off the court. Stephen Curry won this award in 2016. Then he won it again in 2024, becoming one of only a few players in history to win it twice. When Curry won the award for the second time, Magic Johnson congratulated him publicly. There was even a funny moment connected to this where Magic mentioned spending time with Curry's mom at a basketball game, and fans online had a lot of fun with that comment. But underneath the jokes was something simple and powerful. Magic Johnson, the man whose name is on this award, was celebrating Curry winning it for the second time. The old standard of excellence was now directly connected to the new standard of excellence, with Magic's own name linking the two. Magic has talked about Curry many times since then. He has praised Curry's big performances. He has compared other young stars to Curry when trying to describe just how special their shooting looked. He has even grouped Curry together with other legends as one of the players who changed basketball for good. When one of the greatest point guards in history starts comparing other players to you, that says everything about how far you have come. There is one more part of this story that matters a lot. It is about the next generation of players. When Magic Johnson was growing up, kids who loved basketball wanted to grow up and pass like him. They wanted to make those amazing no-look passes. They wanted to run the fast break the way he did. Magic's style became something an entire generation tried to copy. Now, kids growing up watching basketball want to shoot like Curry. They want to pull up from way beyond the three-point line. They practice shots from distances that used to be considered crazy. They watch Curry warm up before games, pulling up shot after shot from the logo at center court. And they go to their backyards and try to do the same thing. Curry did not just become a great player. He changed what normal looks like in basketball. A shot that used to be considered a bad idea is now something coaches encourage, as long as the player can make it consistently. Curry helped create that shift. And an entire generation of players grew up inside the world he helped build. This change did not stay inside the United States either. Kids in countries all over the world started copying Curry's shot. They watched his highlights online, over and over, studying how he moved his feet and flicked his wrist. Coaches overseas began teaching young players to shoot from farther away, something that would have seemed strange just a few years earlier. Basketball is a global game, and Curry's influence reached every corner of it. A kid in another country who has never set foot in an NBA arena can still pull up from deep and say they are shooting like Curry. That kind of reach is rare, and very few athletes in any sport have ever achieved it. It shows that Curry's impact was never just about winning games. It was about changing how an entire sport is played, everywhere it is played. So let's go back to where we started. Magic Johnson knew Curry was special. He knew it before most of the basketball world was ready to admit it. While scouts were focused on Curry's size and his thin frame, Magic was focused on something deeper. He saw a player who was about to do to the point guard position what Magic himself had done years earlier. Magic changed the position once, using his size and his vision. Curry changed it again, using his shooting and his gravity. Neither one of them fit the mold that existed before they arrived. Both of them forced the entire sport to build a new mold around them. That is why this story matters. The greatest players in history are not always the ones who fit perfectly into what already exists. Sometimes, the greatest players are the ones who do not fit at all, the ones who make everyone else rethink what is even possible. Magic Johnson lived that experience himself, and that is exactly why he could look at a thin kid from Davidson College and see the future of basketball before almost anyone else could. Years from now, people will probably look back at this story the same way we look back at the 2009 draft today and shake their heads in disbelief. They will see how slow the world was to accept a new kind of greatness, and they will see how one of the greatest players ever was already paying attention the whole time. Magic Johnson did not need years of proof. He saw it early, and he was right. He knew it all along. Magic Johnson knew.